Hey, good afternoon, keepers of the cash. Gary B, the casual comic guy here, and today we're reviewing Spider-Man. I know, not Conan. I do read other things, believe it or not. This is a book I've had since it came out. I believe it came out in 1990, written and illustrated by Charles Vess, and just absolutely fantastic book. It's a great story. It's Spider-Man and MJ in Scotland. And I'm going to read you the blurb on the back just because it's fitting and it gives you a little insight into what Charles Vess put into it, right? So, what in the world is Amazing Spider-Man doing in Scotland? Would you believe he's there on a second honeymoon with his beautiful wife, Mary Jane, when he discovers the castle she inherited is haunted? Upon investigating the local nightlife, New York's neurotic superhero nearly loses his life to a ghostly night hell-bent on evicting the castle's new owners permanently. Things don't get any better when the murderous members of Scotland's bizarre branch of the Hellfire Club turn up to greet the web spinner. This wild, wondrous adventure is brilliantly brought to life by one of today's foremost fantasy illustrators, Charles Vess. Painstakingly painted over the course of 2 years, Charles has created a comic art masterpiece sure to take your breath away. And it's really good. And this is one I've read over and over and over again over the years, right? And I just want to show you take the dust jacket off, show you the cool art there, the silver imprint, really nice. So, of course, it starts out with Peter and MJ in New York, and he's having dinner with his aunt after catching some bad guys and reflecting that he needs to spend more time with his aunt. And he lets her know that him and MJ are getting a second honeymoon. She's received a letter from an aunt that she doesn't know all that well, but she's always written her, and they've written back and forth, and they have kind of a close relationship through the letters that they had. And when you start to read it, you might get fearful that it's going to be a fish out of water tale. This is not a fish out of water tale. And as I get into grading the different parts of this book, I'll tell you why it's not. But first, we got to talk about the art. And I'm going to put different pieces of the art over here for you to enjoy by Charles Vess, because it's absolutely gorgeous. And the art's an A+ all around. You may like or may not like the way he interprets the way our heroes look, or MJ or Peter Parker, but it's his own style. It's a beautiful style. It really lends itself to the storytelling and the atmosphere of the story. So the art goes with the theme really well, probably helped by the fact that Charles Vess also wrote it. So if he can't fit his art to his own theme, we'd have a problem. But he does, and it's really well done. The story, I'm going to give an A. I don't know if Charles Vess wrote a lot of stuff. I've only ever known his art. But the writing's good, and what it does best is it captures the spirit of who Peter and MJ are as people. Because if you're not invested in Peter Parker and Mary Jane, you're not invested in Spider-Man. It's just another guy in a suit punching this or swinging through that, and it doesn't matter. And he takes these two people, puts them in a foreign place, which you know is foreign to them, but they're still them at their heart. It's like us going on a vacation. We're new. We're new to a place. We're experiencing it, but we're not acting lost and gangling like we have no idea what life is about, right? We're going through and just enjoying it. And that's what they're trying to do. They're there in Scotland. They're taking in what they can take in. They're at this nightclub. MJ does a pool hustle and beats this guy that thinks he's going to whip her. Really fun little moment. Just showcasing MJ's still MJ. No matter where you put MJ, she's always going to be MJ. She's always going to be strong. She's always going to love Peter Parker. And the strength of this book is the relationship between Peter Parker and Mary Jane Watson. Or Mary Jane Parker at this point. Mary Jane Watson Parker. And their relationship is done so well in this in this read. Even when they're apart, the story has to do with them as a couple. And it's amazing. And even when viewed each other from afar, their thoughts are always about the welfare of the other. And that's the strength of the Peter MJ relationship. Each one is more than, each one is part of the whole. And the whole is so dependent on the right characterization of these two. And it's fantastic. And they meet this old lady, Mari, and after Peter has had a confrontation with what appears to be Ghost. Peter doesn't buy it, of course. He's a scientist. There's no way he's going to believe in ghosts. No matter what he's been through with Doctor Strange, that's mystical and something else. As far as a good old-fashioned haunting, the scientist and Peter is never going to buy it. And I like that they don't forget that side of Peter Parker. You know, he is a scientist. He plays by the rules of science. He also plays by his heart and his sense of responsibility. And this whole story, and I know I'm not telling you a lot of story, and that's purposeful. I don't want to spoil. I think the blurb on the back gave you enough of what this book's about that if I start filling in stuff, it's going to ruin the experience of reading it for you. It's not a long read. It's probably take you about 20-25 minutes. It's just really good. But getting back to the heart of MJ and Peter's sense of responsibility, it's through everything in this story. And it's not the woe is me, Peter Parker. It's the, this is what I need to do. This is the right thing to do. If I don't do the right thing, I'm not myself. I can't ignore something that's going on around me that I know needs attention. And the kind of reporter, picture taking side of him, that's always been a part of his personality. You know, when him and MJ are staying the night at the inn that they arrive at when they get to Scotland, you know, he gives her a kiss, he takes off, and he goes, well, I'll be back before she wakes up. MJ, in true fashion, and is just lying in bed with her eyes open as she leaves, and she's smiling, and she's, you know, telling Peter she loves him, knowing that he can't hear her. But she knows who she married. And she knows who this man is, what drives this man, what this man's about. He's not going to sit idle. He's not going to sit by and not see what's going on. It's not in him. It's not in his DNA. Peter's always going to investigate. Peter's always going to have the moral compass driving him forward. He's always going to have the sense of responsibility propelling him to do the right thing, regardless of what he's facing. And he's always going to have his scientific brain decoding the things that he sees to make sense of them in the world that he occupies. Whether that world's in New York City or whether that takes him to Scotland, the Savage Land, wherever you put him, Peter's got to be Peter. And Peter is portrayed so well in this. And when you're reading it, it just feels so grounded in what makes the Amazing Spider-Man so amazing, right? And they meet this guy who's a lord of the castle, whose grandson is taken, and he believes the grandson is dead. The grandson is not. I'm not going to elaborate any further than that. It's something, you know, Peter Parker is going to get to the bottom of. This guy's believing in fairies and ghosts, and once Peter knows there's a problem, Peter's got to solve the problem, right? He's a problem solver. Whether at his own peril or not, Peter is a problem solver, and he's going to get the job done. And hopefully you're enjoying the pictures I'm putting over here, but this is an A+ all around. This is just a spectacular piece of Spider-Man history, in my opinion, and it's easily findable. I'm not showing you something you're going to have a problem finding and buying. I looked on eBay before I did this review just to see how available it was and if it was too pricey. I have a first printing hardcover. I'm not sure if they ever reprinted it. I don't know. But you can get this book all day long for between $10 to $20. And if you're a true Spider-Man fan, I think this is a great part of your collection. I know it's not a floppy. It's a first edition hardcover, painted by Charles Vess, written by Charles Vess. This is the format it was meant to be in, and when you read it, I think you'll believe so too. This is an A+ effort all around, from the glory days of Spider-Man, from the glory days of Peter and MJ. And if you're a fan of both of them and you haven't read this, you're doing yourself a disservice. It's absolutely fantastic. And I know I barely told you anything about this and I'm calling it a review, but I think those of you who are watching this and are Spider-Man fans are going to spend the $10 to $15 to $18 it takes to buy this and read it. And if you have read it already, let me know in the comments what you thought. I don't have enough good things to say about this. I can't tell you how many times I've read it over the years. And I got home from work today and I read 2 issues of Spectacular Spider-Man, 125 and 126, with the Julia Carpenter Spider-Woman. Really enjoyed those, and I'm like, I haven't read Spirits of the Earth in a while. And there's another one I got to read that I've always loved of Spider-Man. It's a tale of him and Doctor Strange, which I'm going to read and review again at some point. It's my favorite, one of my favorite Spider-Man stories of all time. And it has to do with the Wanda tomb. Really great read. But Spirits of the Earth is another one of my favorites, and it's a book I revisit over and over again. Absolutely spectacular. I hope you take my word for it, and I hope my opinion doesn't disappoint you. I hope you read it and love it, and I just wanted to share this with you. It's a book that's been in my life for over 20 years, or maybe closer to 30, or over 30, or maybe a little over 30 now. But it's absolutely wonderful, it's fantastic, and it's everything you would want in Spider-Man, and everything you would want in MJ, and everything you would want in them as a couple. So again, fantastic read. I'm going to give it an A+ all around. I like the conclusion. The bad guy wasn't hammed up too much. You already know the Hellfire Club is in it from the blurb in the back. But it doesn't tell you who the main bad guy is. So I didn't mind reading that to you. There's more story there for you to discover in here. And I really try hard not to spoil these stories for you guys. I want you to be intrigued, and I want you to go find them for yourself because they're worth the time. And if they're not worth the time, I'll let you know my honest opinion on that as well. But again, Amazing Spider-Man, Spirits of the Earth. If you haven't read it, do yourself a favor, check it out. Absolutely amazing. 30-year-old story, which still holds up as an incredible classic Spider-Man tale today. And that's all I got for you today, guys. I hope this week is finding you well. I hope everyone has a great new comic book day tomorrow. And until next time, keep it casual.